Good morning, dear students. Now, now today we are going to discuss clearly about weathering of rocks, geological agents, weathering process of rock. So, uh, in since last two classes, we discussed branches of geology and importance of geology with case studies. Clearly, we discussed since two classes. Now we are entering into the third day. So today topic is weathering of rocks, geological agents, weathering process of rock. Guys, actually just if we observe our surroundings, easily we can identify different type of landscapes. But once we think why these type of different type of landscapes we observed, so at our at surface day by day, minute by minute, second by second, every time it will change something. What is the changing surface of the earth? So that is nothing but a we have to call as a weathering or some geological agents. Now here clearly I will explain what is the weathering and weathering of rocks. Here, the earth surface is constantly changing. Already we discussed. What we discussed, the earth surface is constantly changing. Some changes like erosion and land uplift and sinking happen very slowly over long periods of time. Actually, these type of erosions and uplift of land and sinking of land we cannot observe in during of the human life. Just it will take thousands of years. In generally in geologically we have to, if we want to if you want to reveal some age, so we have to say in millions of years. So other changes such as landslides, volcanic eruptions and earthquakes happen abruptly. These changes are responsible for creation of the surface features, landforms, valleys, plains, deltas, hills and the like, which are the distinctive configuration of the land surface. The configuration of the land surface is the result of the action of various geological process or geological agents. The perpetually modify the face of the earth. The bring out both construct as well as the destruct effects on the existing surface features. Here, the process that bring about the changes on earth surface are both endogenous and exogenous process. So here, what is endogenous and what is exogenous process? Endogenous process originate within the earth crust and the agents are collectively known as hypogeny. uh, just and they derive their energy from within the earth. They are responsible for volcanoes and major earthquakes. On the other hand, exogenous processes are those that derive their energy from external sources and ultimately from the sun. These processes are mainly caused by geological agents such as running water, sea waves, blowing wind, glaciers. These are all the we have to we can say some examples for those ones. Since these agents originate on the Earth's surface, these are known as epigeny, and their activities including process like weathering, erosion, transportation, denudation, deposition leading to the gradation. The exogenous process carried out by the epigeny geological agents are known as the surface process because these processes operate on the surface of the earth. The surface processes are considered in brief. Weathering is the most important surface process. It is the initial stage of denudation, wearing down of rocks on the surface by precipitation, temperature effects, wind, chemical action, and living organisms. Actually, what happened? Weathering is the most important surface process. Means like here some causes is there. For example, wearing down of rocks on the surface by precipitation, temperature effects. Temperature always affects day and night. Wind and chemical action, living or the those are all effects on the always try to change the surface of the earth. It is the combined effect of all processes that cause rocks to be disintegrated physically and decomposed chemically. The essential feature of process is that it affects rocks in situ and no transportation is involved. This is the factor which distinguish it clearly from denudation or erosion. The products of rock weathering from a soft surface layer called the regolith. And from these statements, we can give another definition of the regolith. The soft layer or the unconsolidated material occupied total surface of the earth. We have to call that as also regolith. The regolith grades downwards into solid, unaltered rock known as the bedrock. And all the process of weathering are influenced by factors like rock structure, climate, topography, and vegetation. These all factors are act as a process of weathering, and they are influenced more and more. Rock structures refers to mineralogical composition, joints, bedding planes, faults, fractures, pores, and the hardness of the rock. Here I will explain clearly. Mineralogical composition means already we studied every rock formed with the combination of the some minerals, and the joints also it's developed by the some fractures and bedding planes, faults, fractures, pores. Pores means just like uh, the percentage of existing of the pore spaces in given volume of the existing of the rock and the hardness of the rock, and the hardness of the rock also is very important, and it's play a very vital resist to the geological agents. The degree of weathering of the source area is controlled by the nature of rocks to a great extent, and climate is the sum total of the meteorological elements like temperature, moisture, precipitation and humidity, wind, evaporation and air pressure. These are all play a vital role to erode the surface of the earth. And climate determines whether physical weathering or chemical weathering is dominant, and also the speed of weathering. Here I want to value a point. um, Wherever you observe in total surface of the earth, actually due to the geological agents, always these geological agent acts and try to change surface of the earth, but maybe the intensity is difficult from time to time or place to place, but definitely one of the geological agent predominantly dominant and act and changes always surface of the earth. Topography directly affects weathering by exposing rocks, and indirectly by the amount of precipitation, temperature, and vegetation. Here, topography is it's always changes. Vegetation also is responsible for weathering. It promotes weathering and at the same time protects the soil from the erosion. So vegetation actually it is not actual vegetation is act as a barrier of the erosion of the vegetation. Next, the principal agents of weathering are water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, acids, organisms, and variation in temperature. The agents the agents affect equally in both physical and chemical process of weathering. Here, here the types of weathering actually here physical weathering is there, chemical weathering is there, and biological weathering is there. Here again we can classify the physical weathering are the four types: exfoliation, forest frost wetting and crystal growth, and differential expansion. These four belongs to or it's under comes the physical weathering. Next, oxidation, hydration, carbonation, solution. These four belongs to the chemical weathering. And biophysical process, biochemical process. These two process belongs to biological weathering. Here I will explain what is the physical weathering. Here, in general, all the above types takes place collectively, but there is a possibility that a single type may also cause weathering. This process refers to the mechanical disintegration of rocks in which their mineralogical composition is not changed. Yes, I will try to explain clearly this point. Um, just if you observe some rocks, due to this physical weathering or mechanical weathering, just that the bigger rock changes into small rock to small rock, but the mineralogical composition is not changed. So where mineralogical composition not takes place, that's we have to call as a mechanical weathering or physical weathering. This is brought about chiefly by temperature changes, namely thermal expansion and contraction. The following are some of the important processes of physical weathering. Here, just like, okay, I will explain clearly in foliation. Next, what is exfoliation? In this case, in this process refers to mechanical disintegration of the rocks, in which their mineralogical composition is not changed. Okay, exfoliation. In this case, in this case, thin scales or sheets of rocks are split off by the stress set up by daily expansion and contraction due to the heating and cooling during the diurnal temperature changes. This happens in arid climates. Actually, exfoliation is one type of mechanical weathering, but this exfoliation takes place in arid climates. But the arid climates, if we observe the arid climates, always we can identify the between temperatures, the difference between the day temperature and night temperature. So, for example, in day temperature, when the exposure of the rock faces to the sun radiation, due to the heat energy, the surface of the rock has is a try to expansion, but actually rock has act as a bad conductor. So rock surface is not taking the sun energy, but due to heat energy, it will try to the expanse. At the same situation happen to the night, when temperature falls to 0 to minus degrees, the rock surface takes the contraction. So during this expansion contraction, the outer surface of the layer has fall down. This is called a exfoliation. Now we are going to the what is the frost whitening. Frost is a parent rock breaker. This is common in colder climates. Exfoliation takes place in arid climates, but frost wedging is takes in colder climates. When it is hot, water fills the cracks, pores and crevices in rocks. When it when it becomes colder, it freezes. On freezing, water expands by more than 9% of its volume and exerts bursting pressure of about 14 kg per square centimeter. Then the fracture in rocks are further ruptured and fragments are wedged apart. In this situation, it will take also deformation also it will take. Next, crystal growth. So what is the crystal growth? Soluble constituents of rocks or minerals enter the rocks through fractures and joins along with water. With evaporation of water, the solution precipitates to form crystals or crystalline aggregates, and as they grow, they exert expansive stresses to promote breaking of the rocks. Here, the next one is the differential expansion. Rocks are composed of different minerals. Different mineral grains in the same rock react differently when rock surfaces are exposed to intense heat alternating with the intense cooling. These results in differential expansion and contraction of among the mineral grains. The mineral grains tend to break apart. Coarse grained rocks like granites are more affected. This process is more prominent in desert conditions where intense heat during daytime and intense cooling during nighttime prevail. And next we are coming to the chemical weathering. chemical weathering is more important than physical weathering in almost all climatic conditions. The chemical alternation of minerals in a rock is largely accomplished by the rainwater carrying dissolved oxygen and carbon dioxide together with various acids and organic products derived from the soil. The effectiveness of chemical weathering depends on the composition of the rocks and size of the mineral grains in the rock. The process that are responsible are the for here just four types of chemical weathering is there: oxidation, hydration, carbonation, solution. Now, what is the oxidation? Here, oxidation is the chemical union of oxygen atoms with the atoms of metallic elements. The presence of dissolved oxygen in water in contact with the mineral surface leads to oxidation. Oxygen has a particular affinity for iron. Iron compounds are among us the most commonly oxidized materials. Hydration. The chemical union of water with a mineral is called the hydration. The process of hydration is particularly effective on same aluminum bearing minerals such as feldspars. Carbonation. Carbon dioxide is a common constituent of the Earth's atmosphere. Some of the carbon dioxide present in the air is dissolved in rainwater in course of its passage through the atmosphere. It then returns water into a weak acid called carbonic acid. This chemical formation is H2CO3, and which is the most common solvent acting on the crust. The effect of this process is well noticed in the limestone or chalk areas in the humid regions of the world. Almost all the limestone caves owe their origin to this process. Here, just I want to give you some examples of the carbonization. Is anybody went to the Araku? At there, we can identify a cave. Local name is called the Burra Caves. It was formed 150 crores years back. It's defined by the geologist. But actually, that is a limestone terrain. Due to this carbonation process, the whole material where water travel through the limestone terrain dissolved in the water, and that material disappear and and transported through the water and deposited somewhere. This is a good example of the Burra caves for the carbonation. And what is the solution? The fourth chemical weathering type is the solution. This process is quite significant in bringing about chemical weathering of rocks. Some minerals like gypsum, halite, and get dissolved in water are removed in solution. Here next we are coming to the biola. Next is the biological weathering. Biological weathering, this process of weathering is mainly related to the activities of the various organisms. Organisms like earthworms, burrowing animals like termites and rodents, and also plants take part in breaking rocks at the surface. Man himself has been and still is amongst the most prodigal of the organic agents of the destruction. The biological process of weathering are as follows. And here biophysical process and biochemical process. Now we are jumped into the biophysical process. The growing rootlets of shrubs and trees exert and incredible forces as they work down into the pores and surfaces. Cracks are widened by expansion during the root growth. Organisms like earthworms, snails, and burrowing animals like rodents loosen the soil cover and create suitable conditions for the various external agencies to have their own action on the underlying rocks to lead the rock weathering. Here, biochemical process. Plants of all kinds, including fungi and lichens, contribute to chemical weathering since they extract certain elements like potassium, calcium, phosphorus, and magnesium as a nutrients for their growth from rock materials and consequently liberate others in the process. The dead remains of organisms decay in the soil largely as a result of the activities of the bacteria and fungi. In this way, carbon dioxide and organic acids, together with traces of ammonia and nitric acid, are liberated. All of these increase the solvent power of soil water. The chief organic product is humus. Water charged with humic acids can dissolve certain substances such as limestone, which are ordinarily insoluble. And here I want to show some videos for understanding of the this weathering.
This is the two zones. This is the compression zone. This is the tension zone. We apply in the reinforcement bars uh, to increasing the tensile stresses and resist the cracks in reinforced concrete structures. Simultaneously, reinforcement bars produce tensile stresses, concrete produce compression stresses. Both stresses are works from simultaneously. Um, Load will be distributed and avoid the cracks in reinforced concrete structures. This complete system concrete it involves application of forces tending to bend and compress the concrete element in order to um, contract bending, which results from loading. The force applied is the tensioning or stretching of the steel component,
Dear students,
which is
actually
usually
just I
in the
want to showing
form
a
of high
video
tensile
regarding
strands, wires, or
just
bars. This is the main
weathering of rocks and
main
geological
concept of
agents. This video give
pre-stressing
you
applications.
a big picture to
In
your
these
imagination.
pre-stressing members are applying
After this video, I will come
tension
back to join you.
tension, high tensile strands, wires are bars. In reinforced concrete is named as reinforcement bars. In pre-stressed concrete named as tensile strands, wires or bars. Another name tendons. Tendons means reinforcement bars. That means strands, wires, bars. But applying tension in strands, wires, or bars. These are the two types of processor processes for applying tension, pre-tension and post-tension. See comparison of reinforced concrete and pre-stressed concrete. See the picture applying load, cracks will form in bottom. See this reinforced concrete load load acting in reinforced concrete elements. Another one is pre-stressed concrete. Before loading, see this picture before loading. Uh, Similarly, bending action in pre-stressed concrete member. Another one is see pre-stressed concrete after loading. Loading is acting on the member. It's gain original position. This is the main comparison of reinforcement concrete and pre-stressed concrete for analyzing or analysis these two types of concretes, retention and post-tension. These two different methods of stressing the elements a description of the construction sequences will help bring out this difference. Mainly, the two methodologies in research concrete use pre-tension and post-tension. Detensioning and post-tension. These are the two methodologies for applying tension in pre-stressor concrete members. Pre-tension, pre-stressor concrete. The beams or elements. Elements is nothing but slab, column, footing, and beams. Those are the meaning of what is the meaning of elements are constructed on a stressing bed and the standard cable is placed between two uh, buttresses anchored to stressing bed, which holds the force in the structured cables. After stitching the steel with hydraulic blocks, concrete is placed in forms around the cables and allowed to harden. When the concrete reaches sufficient strength, the pre-stress force is transferred to the concrete by warm. When the steel stands at the ends of the beam, it is cut loose from buttresses. See, the pre-tension main important before concrete applying tension that means that is called pre-tension. Mainly the cables are stressed after after pouring the concrete. First we applying tension in cables and on the pour the concrete. This is the process of pre-tension process. See this picture. This is the dot. This is a piece of bed and apartment. This is the steel tendon. This is the rectal. This is the steel tendon. Uh, Loading, applying tension to tendons, loading, casting of concrete, pouring the concrete, casting of concrete. After cutting of tendon. This is the process of pre-tension methodology, pre-testing process. First, we apply the force to tendons and pour the concrete, casting of concrete, and cutting the tendons, transferring of pre-stress. Pre-stress will be transferred after cutting of tendon. Pre-stress is transferred.
So, students,
See, this is the process of
tomorrow
pre-tension
in
for
I will
pre-stress
explain
concrete.
next topic in tomorrow
See this
classes.
picture,
Bye.
pre-tension concrete beam. See the picture